Welcome everybody from Sparx Systems YouTube channel. It's great to have you here today. Once again, we're going to look at our urban parking system repository that's been designed and developed in Enterprise Architect. Over the last few videos, we've been looking at a number of different ArchiMate viewpoints, and we're going to continue that again today, looking at the principals viewpoint. My name's Scott Hebbard. I'm joined by Stephen Maguire. Welcome, Stephen. What can you tell us about the principals viewpoint?
Thanks for the introduction, Scott, and always a pleasure to be here. Yes, we are going to look at the principals viewpoint, which is part of the ArchiMate specification, language and framework. And remember, this is the de facto language and framework for developing enterprise architectures. The principal viewpoint is important because it establishes the things that an organization wants to put down as solid principles or rules. So the viewpoint focuses on modeling the relevant principles and the goals that motivate these principles, connecting them to both goals and requirements. But they can be applied in a number of other places. But Scott, let's just dive into this topic and have a look. As always, I like to set my perspective, and that is available from the top right-hand corner of the application. Earlier today, I've been working on some data warehouse architecture. If I drop down, you can see the perspective sets here. I'm looking at the enterprise architecture perspective set, and I'm going to choose the ArchiMate perspective. The tool changes its focus, brings up the builder page, and now we've got all things related to ArchiMate. The builder page contains a number of patterns which are very useful. I won't go into those in detail, but feel free to use any of these patterns to get productivity gains for your work, because you can inject these right into your model by clicking the Create Model button up here. But I like to do things from first principles, Scott, so I'm going to close that, but I encourage people to return to this, to the builder page. And it's not just for ArchiMate, we've got thousands of patterns in there for all sorts of other disciplines and frameworks. Having closed that, I'm going to go to the repository or the project browser here and open up the enterprise node in the browser and look at these various architectures. So the business architecture, I think I'm going to put the principals viewpoint into the business architecture. So to do that, I'm going to create a new package. Simply click on the icon in the browser toolbar, and I'm going to call it the principals viewpoint. Having created the package, I can at the same time create a diagram. I'm not going to. I want to do that in 2 steps to show people how that's done. And I can click now on a new diagram icon there and create a new diagram. The one I might want to use is the motivation viewpoint. So in doing that, this will give me the right elements for my principles viewpoint. So I'm going to click on that motivation there, create diagram, and you can see the toolbox has brought up these motivation concepts, including the principle and the requirement and other elements that we need. So we are going to look at creating this viewpoint, and we're going to relate it to goals and requirements. So what I'm going to do, Scott, is I'm going to look into the repository and see what goals that I've got in this repository. So I might look at increasing in-store sales. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for some text and see if I can find some goals that are related to that particular topic. So to do that, I'm going to go to the Start ribbon, and I'm going to go to the Explore panel, the Search item, and click on Model, and that will bring up this very powerful Find in Project feature. So I'm going to click on in there, and I'm going to type in some text. I've just got another window that's just popped up on another screen. I'll just move that, and I'll type in there. So I'm looking for something about increasing in-store sales. This is related to business owners that have particular requirements for the urban parking meter system, and have been in negotiation with the council to ensure that they get a fair, a fair treatment with respect to the parking. If the parking's too expensive outside their business, then of course that might reduce the number of customers that come through their store. Let's have a look and see if we can find this though. And there we've got that. It's come back and said that there's something called increase in-store sales by 20%. Let's right mouse click on this and look for this in find in browser or find in diagrams. Let's go for find in diagrams. And you can see here, it was what I expected. That was to do with local business owners.
Yep.
And this local business owner is a stakeholder. You can tell that by the icon in the top right-hand corner. And they've got drivers. So there's a competitive position driver, customer access, delivery and loading. And here we have competitive analysis there. So they've done an assessment, store accessibility assessment. So all these things that they would have done to provide evidence to the city government or the councils to verify their position or justify their position of asking for some dispensation with respect to parking. But here's our principle. Here's our principle here. So we've got particular goals there. Then we have a principle, and you can see that by the icon in the top right-hand corner again, and up in the properties window, Scott, under the general group there, you can see the type principle. Yeah. And it is an ArchiMate principle. If I just move that across, you can see that it's an ArchiMate 3 principle.
So you can tell by this type and the stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're going to do is to create this viewpoint, we're really just going to say, let's lasso all of these elements. And we've got all of those elements selected. So I can now copy those. So just using the Control-C key on my keyboard, I've got those copied. And what I'm going to do is just click inside this diagram and simply Control-V to paste them. They've gone in. I'm just going to move the group over. And Scott, that's...
How are you moving all of the elements as a whole?
Right. Well, they are all selected there. And if they weren't selected, remember, I can multi-select them like that. So lasso them. Yeah. I can hold the Control key down and select particular ones that I want to have some action on, like I could change the colors of those.
Does Control-A work in Enterprise Architect?
Yeah, it does, Scott. So I can go to Control-A. I just did that on the keyboard as well. So lots of different ways that you can do this. And if you're not familiar with the keyboard shortcuts, I encourage you to look into the help system and avail yourself of a copy of those, because they are great productivity tools as well. So that's the viewpoint, Scott. The principles viewpoint. You can see the principle there is connected to both goals and requirements. So these ones down here are requirements, and you can see the principle being applied there. So it's a very useful viewpoint. I encourage people to create principles, because they're going to be very useful in terms of governing or specifying high-level things about your enterprise architecture. So you can see here time-limited parking is one, customer first parking, operational efficiency. So a core principle dictating that parking duration should be managed to encourage space turnover and availability. This approach aims to serve more customers throughout the day rather than allowing long-term parking that limits access. So you can see how this is a kind of a core principle that might be applied in lots of different situations. So that's it for the principles viewpoint, Scott.
Thank you very much, Stephen. It's great to see the principles viewpoint modelled in Enterprise Architect. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, we appreciate if you like, comment and subscribe to the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. We always value your feedback, and it's great to get lots of likes on our videos. If you have any questions about some of the viewpoints we've covered, including the principles viewpoint, you can reach out to Stephen using the LinkedIn credentials and website credentials that are listed in the video description below. As always, thank you very much, Stephen. It's been great to see another viewpoint in ArchiMate, and look forward to future videos.
Always a pleasure, Scott.